The Philippines is an agricultural country, and the issue of land ownership has always been a perennial issue. Different farmer groups call on the government to swiftly implement land distribution through CARPER, or the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program, with extension and reforms. But after many years, according to the Department of Agrarian Reform, or DAR, 44% of all agrarian reform beneficiaries remained without access to integrated support services as of December last year. Looking back, CARP, or the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program, was first enacted to law during President Corazon Aquino's term in 1988. In 1998, it was extended for another 10 years to complete the distribution of lands. It was once again extended through CARPER from July 1, 2009 to June 30, 2014. In 2009, upon signing of CARPER, former President Arroyo provided a 150 billion peso outlay for the acquisition and distribution of lands. The Aquino administration, meanwhile, had set aside more than 16 billion pesos for agrarian reform in the 1.6 trillion peso national budget for 2011. In 2012, another 17.9 billion pesos had been set aside in the 1.8 trillion peso national budget. Some groups call to give CARPER another chance to solve one of the country's recurring problems in the past decades. But others insist to once and for all junk the supposed flawed law and install a new one. Welcome to Opposing Views, a hard, straightforward discussion of today's most pressing issues. Much has been said and done on the issue of land reform in the Philippines, and it has, in fact, perpetuated many forms of human rights violations. But it seems like many more questions are left unanswered. So we ask tonight, should the government extend the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program with extension and reforms in order to achieve its goal? Good evening, I'm Nepomuceno, and this is Opposing Views. Joining us tonight in our discussion is Attorney Christian Monsod, co-convener of Sulong CARPER. Good evening, Attorney Monsod.
Good evening.
Yeah, can you give us your quick thoughts on this topic regarding the extension of the CARPER?
Alam mo niyo yung unang-una, hindi lang land transfer yan. Agrarian reform, ibig sabihin yan, total support services. That's number one. Number two, yung sinasabi nilang June 30 deadline is only on land acquisition and distribution. Hindi kasama dyan yung continuing support services. Number three, sa palagay namin, yung agrarian reform is a partial success, partial failure. Kasi maraming loopholes sa batas, maraming hindi ipinatupad sa implementasyon. Kaya kailangan yan, correctin natin lahat yan para maganda ang katapusan at kinabukasan ng ating agrarian reform.
All right. Thank you, Attorney Monsod. And on the opposing side, we have Rafael K. Paeng Mariano, National Chairman of the Kilusang Magbubukid ng Pilipinas. Good evening, K. Paeng.
Good evening. Magandang gabi po sa lahat. At ang pagpapatupad po ng tunay na reforma sa lupa ay malaon ng kahingian ng ating mga magsasaka na siyang lulutas doon sa nananatiling fundamental problem of landlessness o kaya naman ay lack o walang sapat na lupa yung nakararami sa ating mga magsasaka, lalong-lalo na yung mga poor peasants at mga farm workers natin. At ang genuine land reform with pre-land distribution as the central goal ang talagang magbibigay wakas at papawi sa historical social injustice na malaon na pong dinaranas ng ating mga magsasaka at magpapalakas ng sektor na agrikultura na dapat ay pagsilbihin at kilalanin bilang pundasyon ng ating pambansa ekonomiya.
All right. Maraming salamat, K. Paeng. And all right, so tonight we'll have to, I guess, expound a little bit on the CARP. Now, a lot of people are familiar with the CARP law. Not everyone is familiar with CARPER. The CARPER law, which is the CARP with extension and reforms, which was implemented in 2009. And it will be effective up until 2014. You mentioned earlier, Attorney Monsod, that it's 50% successful and 50% a failure. Can you expound on that, elaborate that further?
Well, alam nyo, ang basis lang niyan is yung mga report card, mga analysis ko ano nangyari. And ang mga successful distribution of land, yung agrarian reform communities na total lang support infrastructure, support services, and so on. Pero yon siguro mga 50% ng ang farmers na inabutan nun. Kaya malaki ang kakulangan ng gobyerno na hindi nila bigyan ng support services. Unang-una, underfunded. Dapat dyan mga 220 billion over 20 years. Ang binigay nila mga 170 billion lang, more or less. No? So underfunded yan. At saka ang ikalo, yung capacity building ng mga magsasaka. Kasi tenant sila gagawing owner cultivator.
Yeah.
So kailangan may capacity building talaga, tulong. Ngayon, yung CARPER, diyan unang-una binigyan ng 150 billion yan for CARPER. At ikalawa, specified dun sa CARPER, for example, na yung tulong sa farmers a specific part of the 150 billion, it's about 12% or 40%. So, yun kasama initial capital. Kasi walang capital ang mga magsasaka. Utang lang sila ng utang. At may socialized credit. No, so, at sinabi na yung total approach sa agrarian reform dapat patupad. Hindi nangyari yan. Under the Noynoy administration, hindi binigay lahat ng sapat na budget. Pareho din nung nangyari before para sa agrarian reform. Tapos, maraming yung mga loophole umiira pa rin, maski na nakalagay sa CARPER, that only the Supreme Court can stop the processing of the land reform. Kasi yung tao ni Noynoy dyan, si Rick Hill de los Reyes, merong AO7, yung Administrative Order 7, Administrative Order 9, na sinabi na pag merong kaso, may litigation, merong complaint, isususpend yung processing ng lupa. Di ganun din. Di ba? Right. So, maraming kakulangan dyan. Mahaba yan, mahaba.
Would you say that insofar as the land distribution, medyo may success, pero when it came to the support services, as you mentioned, doon ang major failure?
Pero yung CARPER, yung target nila, natatapusin yung land distribution acquisition in 5 years. Ang katotohanan yan, ang performance ng Noynoy administration, siguro 20 to 25% lang accomplishment on targets. That's why they have to rely doon Section 30 sa CARPER na is there's a pending case, itutuloy nila. Natatakot kami, baka hindi nila ma-issue lahat yung notice of coverage at saka baka magkaroon ng problema sa funding. Right. So that's why you need an extension. Isa pa. At kailangan hulihin lahat, tingnan lahat yung mga nag-circumvent na binigo yung agrarian reform, yung mga landowner na resisting landowner. Tingnan lahat yan. At yung mga gumawa niyan, kunin yung lupa, i-distribute sa farmer. Ang estimate namin dyan is between 700,000 to 1 million hectares. Yung circumvention of agrarian reform. Okay. Pag pinabayaan yan, yung mga landowner na yan have made a mockery of agrarian reform.
Now, you said earlier na 50% success, 50% failure. Now, I'm not a mathematician or anything, but I know at least based on academic grades, that's like a failure, right?
Well,
if 50% success is not a passing grade. All right. Kapeng, according to Attorney Monsod, it's a 50% success and 50% failure. Sa inyong palagay, itong CARP law at CARPER, ilang percent successful, ilang percent or talagang zero?
Kung ang gagamitin po nating panukat ay sa pakahulugan sa agrarian reform at para maging isang talagang at genuinely thoroughgoing and distributive social justice measure ay yung mawawakasan talaga yung fundamental na problema ng magsasaka sa kawalat kakulangan ng lupa. Sinusukat namin ang kahit pa yung PD27 ni dating Pangulong Marcos at itong Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program sa ilalim ng Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law of 1988 at in-extend ng 2 beses ng itong pinakahuli ng Republic Act number 9700 ay it's a total failure.
Total failure.
Total failure yan. Kasi 10 tayo nakakita na ang mga beneficiary ng agrarian reform ay binigyan mo ng napakabigat na obligasyon na pagbayarin ng land amortizations. Karagdagan pa yung amilyar, no? At kung hindi makabayad ng 3 equal annual amortizations, ay maaaring ma-foreclose yung lupang in-award sa kanya.
Mapupunta
o nagiging, ang nangyayari tuloy, ay binibigay na isang kamay, binabawi na isang kamay, sibigay, bawi.
From what you know, halos lahat ganun ang nangyari.
Yung data ng Land Bank of the Philippines po, Attorney Rod, ay as of September 2013, mga 9.7% lang ang ang masasabi nating naka-fully paid, full payment. At 75% niyan, ay yung more than 90%, 75% of which ay mga hindi talaga unabis nakabayad. Yun namang the rest po, almost 15% ay partially nakabayad. So, anong gagawin natin dyan? Ipo-foreclose natin lahat? O ibig kong sabihin, ay kaya nga po, ang esensya talaga ng Agrarian Reform Program na masasabi nating mahigpit na tumutungtong dun sa esensya at diwa ng social justice ay yung hindi mo na obligay na magpagbayarin pa sila. Kaya nga po ang laman mismo, ang sentral na layunin ng Genuine Agrarian Reform Bill na ngayon House Bill 252 na yan po yung aming sinusulong bilang bago at tunay na puspusan, tunay na komprehensibo.
Genuine Agrarian Reform.
Opo, at redistributive programa sa reforma agraryo para sa ating mga magsasaka. At tama na yung 40 years ng Marcos Land Reform at yung almost 26 years ng Anti-Peasant and Pro-Landlord Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program. At dito na po tayo sulong na po natin itong bago na programa sa reforma agraryo na kahit po doon po sa GARB provision po kasi, walong section doon ay kino-cover din at nagbibigay ng proteksyon kahit na po yung nasaklaw na pamahagian ng magsasaka ng lupa doon sa ilalim ng PD27 at ng CARP o CARPER law. Ibig sabihin, yun ang magbibigay po ng ganap na proteksyon at garantiya, magbibigay sa kanila ng talagang pangmatagalan at permanenteng control, ownership doon sa lupa.
Okay. I'd like to discuss yung na-mention yun. Yes, Attorney.
Alam po ninyo, ako sang-ayon dun eh. Kami, we agree with them na yung delinquency ng mga magsasaka, hindi nila kasalanan yun. Kasalanan yun ng gobyerno. Kaya yung sulat namin kay Presidente, a month ago, alam naman ni Kapaing to. Sabi namin, unang-una, imbestigahan lahat ng circumvention. O yung nawala ng lupa informally. Kasi meron dyan mga minomortgage back to the landowner, walang pera.
In other words, na-award na sa kanila.
Ikalawa, kailangan i-condone lahat ng amortization na hindi babayad. And in the future, wala nang bayad yung mga farmers para maganda yung malulutasan natin ng agrarian reform at ipakita talaga na ang gobyerno is for social reform. Kasi tama si Kapaeng, ang ating standard dyan, nagkaroon ba ng social change? Hindi eh. Kasi yung, sabi nga ng mga independent researchers sabi nila yung Filipinos daw never got out of the colonial age. Nandiyan pa yung feudalism. Nandiyan pa sa atin. Hindi pa natin nasusolve yan. Kaya yun, sabi namin, ibigay ninyo sa farmer yan. Pwedeng gawin yung kondisyon, kailangan you have to till it and so on para hindi naman libre. Okay? Right. So, we agree.
Yeah, okay.
Na dapat,
now we are extending this already extended program of yung CARP nga, it became CARPER. So, na-extend na siya by 5 years, right? I guess my question is, what's stalling it? In your mind, anong nag-stop? Why is it, or what's preventing it from being fully implemented?
Well, first of all, there is the landlord-dominated Congress na lagi nilang ina-underfund, right? And second, yung mga nagpapa-implement yan, for example, the present agrarian reform, pinoprotektahan nila yung mga landowner unduly. Dapat, sabi nga namin sa kanila, ang andar, ang constituency ninyo, farmers, yan ang ipagtanggol ninyo, hindi landowner. Pabayaan yung trade and industry ang magtanggol niya sa mga landowner kung gusto nila. Di ba?
Yes.
Hindi yung ginagawa. For example, Luisita, sinabi ng Supreme Court, ipatupad yan, i-distribute na yung lupa. Pero sinabi ng Supreme Court, meron diyang 1,500 hectares na ni-retain ng Cojuangco family. Right? Eh yun, in excess of the retention limits. Imbestigahan yan at kailangan ibigay yan sa mga farmers o kung napagbili niyan, compensate the farmers. Kasi yan, lupa nila yan. Hindi ginagawa ng DAR ngayon yan. In other words, si Hilde Los Reyes, pero tampa rin niya ang kuhang ko hanggang ngayon.
So ang Congress at saka ang heads ng DAR are the main, in your mind, main culprits why hindi na-implement
kung yun lang pinag-usapan, excuse me.
Sige.
Kasi kung tingnan ninyo, okay, Congress, tapos yung executive, yung lalo na yung DAR. In fact, there are some defective Supreme Court decisions, particularly on compensation to the landowner. Ang sinasabi nila, in effect, market price daw dahil ex-eminent domain, yung bang kukunin lo para kalye, para dama, whatever it is. Pero hindi ho social reform ito eh. From the rich landowner to the poor farmer.
Supreme Court said market value dapat.
Para sobra yung compensation nila. And meron namang formula dyan based on productivity of the land, sonar valuation, kung ano dinideclare nila for tax purposes. Pero meron silang late decision in 2013 doon sa IHOS case na pati yung interest, 12%. Wala na tayong 12% interest ngayon.
That's right.
Interest natin, 3, 4, 5%. Hindi ba? So, there is also a need na yung reviewin ng Supreme Court, yung kanilang jurisprudence.
Alright. Now, Kapayag, sa inyong opinion, ano yung reason why hindi na-implement fully itong CARPER? Is it, as mentioned by Attorney Monsod, mukhang lahat, no? Executive, Judiciary, tsaka pati Congress, no? Sa inyong palagay, you think ba pati mga landlords dito may factor ba yung mga landlords kaya hindi naipapatupad ang CARPER law?
Totoo naman po na yung class composition ng Kongreso noon na nagpatibay, nagsabatas, noong Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law of 1988 na tinatawag natin ngayong Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program o Republic Act 6657 and amended by Republic Act 9700 ay talagang naglalaman ng basically naglalaman talaga ng mga probisyong kontra sa interes ng magsasaka at nagtataguyod sa makauring interes ng mga landlords. Kaya nga yun din ang dahilan kung bakit napakaraming circumvention, maneuverings, mga pinaiikutan, ilulusutan, at iniiwasan yung mga
ginagamit nila yung mga
Ako
loopholes.
sasabihin nga sa kilusang bukid ng Pilipinas at Anak Powers Party List na ang unang-unang naging benepisyaryo ng Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law of 1988 ay ang Hacienda Luisita na pag-aari ng pamilya Cojuangco at Aquino. Dahil ginamit yung tinatawag nilang alternative arrangement to physical land distribution. That is, itong stock distribution
na lang.
Napakatagal na pinagkait po yung lupa sa mga magsasaka. May desisyon na po ang Korte Suprema. Kaya naipamahagi yung 4,335 hectares. At kung may makikita pa yung DAR na agricultural lands ng Hacienda Luisita, sinabi doon, may competent authority kayo na saklawin pa yan, tumahagi doon sa mga magsasaka at mga gaong bukid. Ngayon, binubuldoser po ng Tadeco na korporasyon din ng Cojuangco Aquino, yung mga lupaing agricultural doon. Nag-issue ng notice of coverage daw ang DAR doon sa covering 358 hectares. Pero hindi pinakikinggan po yan, hindi kinikilala. Kaya ang ginawa po sa Hacienda Luisita, tinambiolo, kinalog na land reform program, nag-issue ng Xerox copy ng CLOA dahil yung original copies ng CLOA ay nandun sa land bank. Wala pang muhon, hindi pa na-install yung mga beneficiaryo. Hindi nila ngayon makultivate yung nasan yung 6,600 square meters na pinamamahagi sa kanila. At yung pong desisyon ng Korte Suprema, malinaw po doon. 6 na beses pong binanggit doon sa resolution ng Supreme Court promulgated on April 24, 2012 that the agrarian policy is that the control over agricultural lands must always be in the hands of farmers. Dito na nga po, dito na laging lumalakas po yung batayan bakit pre-land distribution. At yung pong condonation, write-off ng unpaid land amortizations, pati po yung amilyar, yung land proper, yung land tax o real property tax ay bahagi na po yan
Kaya
ng nilalaman
kasama ng
ng Genuine Agrarian Reform Bill o House Bill 252 na yung nga po yung sinasabi po namin na kahit po yung mga magsasaka na naging biktima ng circumvention ng mga may-ari ng lupa, individual monocorporation, kinansilang mga CLOAS, EPs and CLTs
Dapat ibalik sa kanila.
at mga magsasaka po ay itinuturing pong benepisyaryo rin ng Genuine Agrarian Reform Bill o House Bill 252.
Alright, we need to take a short break po, Kapeng and
Maraming po
Attorney
salamat.
Mansod. We'll take a short break right now, and meanwhile, join the discussions online. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/solaropposingviews. Follow us also on Twitter at opposing_views. Use the hashtag #OVCarper. Stay tuned. You are watching Opposing Views. Welcome back. You're still watching Opposing Views. We have with us Attorney Christian Monsod and Rafael Kapaeng Mariano. And our debate question for tonight: should the government extend the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program with extension and reforms in order to achieve its goal? Now, let's go to the details, Attorney Monsod, on the proposed extension from your side regarding this 2-year extension. Apart from the 2-year extension, you were saying that there are other provisions that you wanted to, or I guess reforms.
Let me just go back. Ang gusto namin kasi, yung commission that will investigate yung claims of accomplishment must be independent.
Okay.
Hindi pwede na ano lang yon yung congressional
a committee in the DAR.
It must be an independent with powers of subpoena, powers of contempt. Kasi hahanapin ninyo yung mga circumvention eh.
Correct. So apart from the 2-year extension, you want this independent
commission to review the program.
And in your mind, who should compose this?
Well, it's by law. Pareho din nung ginawa nila dun sa commission to investigate the coup attempts in 1989. Independent commission yon.
Right. Okay.
Right? With the right of subpoena and cite for contempt. Para talagang walang politika.
Okay. Now, there are other reforms that you're asking for.
Yes, massive. Gusto namin gumawa ng massive support services ang gobyerno to show, para pakita how it can be done kung tama yung support services.
Okay.
No? For example, at saka yung mga leaseback agreement. Yung leaseback agreement, supposed to be only a transition period. Habang merong bigyan ng capacity yung farmers to be owner cultivator. Mga 5 years
Leaseback meaning the farmer leases it back to the
landowner. Ang ginawa nila, ina-approve nila up to 25 years. And 2 years ago, 3 years ago, nakita namin, they were willing to, another 25. Ay, anong klaseng temporary transition arrangement?
So this independent commission
that's one of the circumventions.
Yeah. So this independent commission is supposed to check,
look at all of
these circumventions.
Yung mga fake circumventions, mga shadings of the truth or whatever it is, that ang lupa ay wala sa control ng farmer. Sabi nga ni Kapay, the essence of agrarian reform is the farmers must control the land.
And as well as investigate human rights violations as you...
Yes, nandun po yun. Sa amin, kasi masyadong marami na po yung mga human rights violations.
Mga land grabbing.
Yung amin yung grupo, yung Task Force Mapalad, sa Negros, about 15 na farmer leaders namin have been killed since 2001. Wala po maski isa na nasa bilangguan.
Now, these reforms, as you mentioned nga, apart from the 2-year extension, yung condoning of all unpaid amortizations
and free distribution in the future.
In the future, independent commission to audit the performance
Massive
of the DAR.
Massive support services.
Right, and investigation of the human rights violations.
Yes.
You think, sir, Attorney Monsod, do you think that these are doable in 2 years?
Well, we must do it. Kung, sabi nga namin, sang-ayon nga kami doon, kung gusto talaga natin yung radical social reform, because there's no such thing as trickle-down economics na eventually magpapantay-pantay. We need radical change. Kailangan palitan natin yung umiiral na feudalismo sa atin, na 1% lang ng populasyon natin, yung ruling elite. Ang Ang nagpapatakbo ng bayan natin, gumagawa ng batas, nag-i-implement ng law, nasa Supreme Court. Kailangan ibahin natin yung structure ng society natin.
Right.
So it's structural change.
Structural change.
And agrarian reform and the social justice provisions, ang constitution natin is not a reaction against martial law. The heart of our constitution is social justice. And the definition of social justice in the 1987 constitution is different from the social justice in the 1935 and 1973 constitution.
Okay. Now, Kapayeng, do you agree with that? You think that we should, according to Attorney Matsod, extend natin ang CARPER with those, I guess, reforms? Okay ka na ba doon?
Hindi. Ang proposition talaga namin, Attorney Rod, isulong na natin sa batas itong bago.
And itong bago nga,
na talagang genuinely thoroughgoing, redistributive, at talagang magiging isang social justice measure or legislation na kung maipasa, ito yung magbibigay wakas at papari
ano po yung mga key
doon
components
sa katutubong feudalismo na binabanggit nga ni Atty. Mansod kanina.
ano yung key components nung in your version?
Yung pong yung mas thoroughgoing, puspusan at talagang sasaklawin lahat ng mga lupaing agrikultural, lalo na yung mga naging lupang nailusot, naipuslit, no? Naiiwas,
so covered yun,
convention,
pati yung mga hindi pa nako-cover.
At ang laman po kasi nung agrarian reform talaga nationalization of all agricultural lands at agarang pre-land distribution sa ating mga magsasaka na walang lupa o hindi sapat ang lupang sinasaka, lalo na yung ating mga maralitang magsasaka at mga manggagawang
so nationalization of all
workers. Lalo na ngayon, meron pong proposisyon sa Kongreso, di-nationalize pa yung pag-aari ng lupa sa ating bansa at ihahandog sa mga dayuhan. Yung isusubasta yung ating mga lupain hanggang sa 100% ownership right. Hindi pa po nagkasya doon sa umiiral ng batas ngayon, yung Republic Act 7652, yung Investors Lease Act, na nagkakaloob na nga ng 75 taong year lease sa mga dayuhan. Virtually, ownership na po yun. Yung control ng 55 taon. So, kaya nga po itong Genuine Agrarian Reform Bill, ito na po isinusulong namin. Noon na po nakaraang 15 Congress, na ako po ang principal author nito, bukod sa nagkaroon na po ng hearing yung Committee on Agrarian Reform ng House, nagkaroon na po ng public hearings sa Visayas, sa Mindanao, at sa Luzon, at hindi nga lang po nakapaglabas ng committee report, kaya po inirefile po ng Anak Pawis Party pangunahin ito, sponsored by Congressman Fernando Capando Hicap as the principal author. So nagkaroon po ng hearing nung isang araw, aking pong pagkakatanda, 4 na oras pong nagkaroon ng deliberation on the Agrarian Reform Bill 252.
Sorry. Yung na-mention po ni Atty. Mansod, di ba kayo sang-ayon na extend na lang ang CARPER with the reforms that he mentioned? Yung reforms na sinabi niya na may independent commission to investigate human rights violations and yung mga circumvention na sa implementation ng CARP law, tapos yung yun nga, yung pag-condone ng mga amortizations na hindi nabayaran and free distribution. Yun yung mga sinasabi ni Atty. Mansod.
Welcome at positive pong development yung posisyon ang sulat sa anak. Lalaman po ata ng sulat ng siyam na obispo po ba yun?
Tsaka 100 and about 300 NGOs and people.
Yung nilalaman na rin ng Genuine Agrarian Reform Bill, condonation, write-off ng land amortization, unpaid land amortizations, at yung future payments ay libre na rin. Yun po, isang mahalaga pong matingkad na nilalaman at provision ng Genuine Agrarian Reform Bill. Pero nagpapatuloy po yung aming apela ng Anak Pawis Party List ng Kilusang Bukid ng Pilipinas sa Catholic Bishops Conference of the Philippines na wag na po nating i-extend itong CARPER neto kahit 2 taon na hindi man yun ang layunin, nagbibigay lang po ng ilusyon sa ating mga magsasaka na mapapamahagi na yung lupang malao na nilang sinasaka at magiging pag-aari at kontrolado na nila. So, na hindi naman nangyari doon sa unang 10 taong extension, may kasunod na 5 taong extension, tapos 2 taon, kahit extend mo ng 2 taon,
wala talaga. Di talaga
palagay ko po, ayokong pangunahan yung mga magsasaka natin na maiiling pag narinig na extend pa ng 2, samantalang na-extend na ng 15 taon, bakit hindi pa po tayo magsama-sama sa GARB na po tayo.
Atty. Mansod, Kapayeng seems to be saying na talagang
maisabatas.
Talagang useless na talaga yung CARPER, no?
Sa akin,
Anong tingin niyo?
Sa akin parang siguro ilagay natin yung isa, dalawa, no?
Yes.
Sabi, saan ba't pareho, saan nagkaiba? Kasi magandang magsama tayo eh. Alam naman natin ang hangarin natin, parehong social justice. At talagang total emancipation ng farmer. At ibahin natin yung inequalities dito sa ating bansa. So pagtabihin natin yung dalawang version. Saan ba tayo nag-agree? Saan ba tayo nagdi-disagree? Kasi wala pa akong naririnig na nagdi-disagree kami. Alright? I don't know whether yung compensation to landowners po, Kapaing. Are you against any compensation or merong compensation din?
Doon po sa genuine nagre-reform bill, meron pong compensation. May just compensation, may expropriation proceedings. Kasi totoo naman po, kahit pag sinukat mo yan sa 1987 Constitution, there are 3 provisions regarding the just compensation. At pero ang wala po sa konstitusyon at kahit po yun sa 1935, 1973 and the 1987 Constitution, walang fixed and final formula to determine yung just compensation. Kaya yun po yung binabanggit na Attorney Monsod, bakit ang Korte Suprema, no? Ang parang nagiging jurisprudence ngayon ang halaga ng lupa ng landowner nakabase sa kung anong presyo nito sa palengke, current fair market value. Kung naghahabol pa po ng interest doon sa hindi na ibigay na amortisasyon.
So gentlemen, I'm sorry. I need to...
Binigyan pa po ng Supreme Court.
Wala akong problema doon. Wala akong problema na i-define natin doon sa extension kung ano ang just compensation.
But at this point, we'll need to take a short break. We'll take off from there. No? But at this point, we need to take a short break. More on the issue of land reform when we come back. Please stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching Opposing Views on the Solar News Channel. Our guest for this evening, Attorney Christian Monsod, co-convener of the Sulong CARPER, and Rafael Capaeng Mariano, National Chairman of the Kilusang Magbubukid ng Pilipinas. And our question for this evening, should the government extend the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program with extension and reforms in order to achieve its goal? Now, it seems from our discussion, the two gentlemen here are in agreement regarding agrarian reform and comprehensive agrarian reform. I think where we're having some differences would be whether the CARPER law should be extended. Now, there's a discussion, of course, the Capaeng is the proponent of this new law, which is GARB, which is the Genuine Agrarian Reform Program. But you feel, Attorney Monsod, that we don't need a new law. It's just a matter
whether you call it a new law or an extension, we need a law.
Okay.
We need a law.
Alright.
Ang question, ano ang nilalaman nung batas na yan? And sa pinag-usapan natin, marami naman kaming points of agreement. So tinasabi ko, baka pa nang pagtabihin natin, tinan natin kung saan pwedeng pagkasunduan na may compromise here and there. And yun ang ating discussion ngayon.
As from,
ang dalawang issues siguro na magandang pag-usapan natin ay yung collective versus individual CLOA ng farmer.
Okay.
At
we
saka
talk about
yung
that?
word na expropriation.
Okay.
Yun lang. No?
All right. Can you expound on that? Your position regarding expropriation and collective
ang position namin, yun ang nakalagay sa Supreme Court. Decision doon sa Luisita na individual CLOAs. Ano ngayon? Bibigyan mo ng individual CLOAs yung farmers. Pero silang bahala kung gusto nilang pagsama-samahin yung kanilang mga lupain para large-scale cultivation. Wala namang contradiction between large-scale cultivation and small-scale ownership of land.
Walang contradiction doon,
Pwede silang mag-joint venture among themselves, mag-ano sila. Pero sabi ng Supreme Court, individual rather than collective
land ownership.
CLOA.
CLOA,
okay,
yun.
Yun ang isa issue.
Now, Capaeng, your position is dapat collective land ownership ba? Yun ba yung position
dito po sa Genuine Agrarian Reform Bill o House Bill 252, doon sa mga lupain po, agricultural lands na sasaklawin itong libreng pamahagi ng lupa sa ilalim ng GARB. Kung meron na po diyang organisasyon, samahan, union o kooperatiba ng mga magsasaka at manggagawang bukid at ang kanilang hinihiling na ay kolektibong ipamahagi sa kanila, bakit pa po natin pipilitin ang individual distribution ng
So
lupa.
kayo,
Kung
hindi kayo
pwedeng
pabor sa individual masyado?
collective ownership nila. Yun ang lalamin po at yun ang magiging description mismo nung ipamamahaging title of full emancipation under the GARB o House Bill 252.
So,
Hindi po katulad ngayon na kay Hacienda Lucita, kahit naman nasa konstitusyon na sa Section 4 ng Article on Social Justice and Human Rights, inaalaw naman hindi lang yung directly ma-own ng magsasaka, mapag-ari ng lupa, yung lupa ng magsasaka, kundi nandun din yung kolektibong pagmamayari.
Pero kayo, ang in-espouse nyo is that dapat collective land ownership para mas
Doon po
mas
sa mga lugar na ang
kontrolado.
agricultural lands ay talaga pong sama-sama na rin binubungkal ng mga magsasaka. Kung meron pang mga lugar na talagang individual ding kinocultivate ng ating mga magsasaka at
Isasama na yan.
at sa panahong hindi pa sila handa para buuin yung kanilang pagmamay-ari sa lupa ng collective, ang paraan ng pagmamay-ari, di gagalang po natin yon. So it's a policy of education and encouragement. Kung makita nila yung bintahin ng collective dun sa individual, so makikita, lalo na po kung meron silang mga economic organizations na dyan o kooperatiba nila. Halimbawa po sa mga plantasyon, na malalawak na lupain ng plantasyon, may mga agricultural, may farm workers union na dyan, o organization o kooperatiba nila. So hindi na po dapat na individual pa yung pamamahagi ng title of full emancipation under GARB. So, kikilalanin na natin yung kahalagahan at kung yun ang kahandaan na ng mga organisasyon, samahan ng mga manggagaang bukid dyan, di collective po yung magiging katangian na nung title of full emancipation. Kasi po itong genuine land reform with free land distribution as the central goal, talaga pong ang layunin natin dito, yung total emancipation from the bondage of the soil ng ating mga magsasaka at manggagawang bukid.
Attorney Matsod, do you agree with the thoughts of Kapaeng na it should be more of a CLOA, meaning more of an organized ownership, collective ownership rather than individual
Alam
ownership?
niyo, ang sa amin, edi ibigay natin sa farmer and let them decide kung gusto nilang isama. No? Ganun lang kami, simple, two-step. No? Kasi ngayon, sinabi na ng IFAD, yung International Fund for Agricultural Development, World Bank, lahat ng mga international organization. The most efficient farms are small farms. Yung plantation, para yan sa mga Australia, Canada, malalawak ang mga lupa nila. Kasi yung small farm, for example, vegetable farming, hindi naman kailangan plantation yan eh. At saka, maski nasabihin mo yung pineapple o kaya palm oil, pwedeng large-scale cultivation, pero may small-scale ownership. Pwedeng contract growing, pwedeng joint venture. Maraming ibang choices ang farmer. Ibigay natin sa farmer yung choice. Yung choice. Ibigay sa kanilang lupa, o kayong bahala ngayon. Gusto nyo magsama-sama, okay lang.
Bukas yung provision ng Genuine Agrarian Reform Bill doon na sa simula, di individual na pamamahagi under this title of full emancipation, and malaunan kung meron silang choice, pagpipili at pagdidesisyon nila na pwede nilang patakbuhin isang collective farm yan, no? O kooperatiba, o nasa sa mga beneficiaryo na. So, napakabukas po doon yung...
Hindi ka masyadong malayo.
Hindi masyadong malayo, pero hindi ba covered na ng CARPER law yan?
Hindi. Malaki ang pagkakaiba, Atty. Rod, talaga. Sa laman at saka sa yung central na layunin ng libreng pamahagi, wala pa yan sa provision ng kahit nitong CARPER. Ito nung CARP.
Libreng pamamahagi.
Ito, maganda at napaka-positive at the welcome point of advocacy yan.
Ay, magkasama naman kami sa
Do you think may...
Kung yan man ay advocacy na ng Catholic Bishops Conference, very welcome po yan at napaka-positibo po.
Do you think ba may chance sa inyong dalawa, two gentlemen, no? Do you think there's a chance na parang sabihin nila walang compensation?
Magkasama kami dyan. Kasi it's time. Nag-antay na tayo sa gobyernong ipakita nila na sincere sila dito sa agrarian reform. Unfortunately, spotty. Hindi ba sinasabi ko? Hindi. Ngayon, pakita na nila. Bigay nila sa farmers ng libre ng lupa. Dahil, sinabi nga ni Kapaeng, mataas naman yung delinquency na eh. Hindi naman kasalanan ng farmer yan. So, from the economic point of view, there is no or little opportunity cost to the government. Kasi hindi din nababayaran yung 90% na yun eh. So, anong cost sa government? Di ba?
Di naman nababayaran.
Wala nang cost
At saka,
Attorney Rod.
wala na yun di ba?
Kasi
At saka,
kung
kasalanan ng gobyerno yun, hindi kasalanan ng magsasaka.
Kung titigil na yon at ikaw condone, i-write off yung unpaid land amortizations. Kami nga sa GAB, pati nga yung amilyar na hindi nababayaran sa mga na nasa libro ng mga treasurers offices ng mga LGUs. Kung matitigil na yon, ma-unburden na yung magsasaka doon o beneficiaryo, beneficiaryo ng General Reform Bill. So, meron siyang kagyat na magagamit na production capital Kasi, kaysa babayad pa siya ng amortisasyon o babayaran niya nung nakabunto na napakalaking utang, pwede na niyang gamitin yung support bilang kapital sa pagsasaka. Hindi natatakbo sa usurero.
Rather than paying
may
for the
exception lang
amortization.
kami doon sa just compensation at expropriation proceedings kasi merong provision at yan alam naman ni Atty. Monsod yan ang Jimmy Nagrara-Reform Bill, itong House Bill 252 na may exception doon sa mga lupaing. Paano yung pag binaybay mo, sinundan mo, tinrack mo ngayon kung paano napunta sa landowner yon o landlord, masusumpungan mo, matutuklasan mo o manggagaling siyempre yan sa mga magsasaka na rin mismo na yung lupa nakuha mismo sa pangangamkam sa kanila. O kaya na may through pandaraya, panililang, paggamit ng puwersa o dahas para mapatalsik sila. At talagang ang sinaunang nakaposisyon dyan at nagko-cultivate yung mga naunang magsasaka dyan na pwedeng mga magulang o ninuno nila itong nakapwesto ngayon. O babayaran ba yan ng gobyerno? So yun po yung tinatawag naming solid land holdings. Hindi naman pwedeng lahat. Kahit na ang history ng nung lupa, kaya naging nasa control ng isang malaking land-owning family, kinamkam lang sa magsasaka o manggagawang bukid, babayaran pa ng gobyerno, pera din po ng bayan yun. Yun naman, may exception lang doon. At saka yung mga lupain ng mga maliliit na nag-aari, small landowners, nagbigay din po ng konsiderasyon at natatanging pagtrato yung genuine Agrara-Reform Bill. Kaya din po, in effect, meron din siyang 5-hectare retention Na yung may-ari ng lupa na ang sukat lang ay 5 hektarya pababa, basta bubungkalin po niya, may iwan po sa kanya yon. Yun naman pong may 15 hektarya pababa na gano'n, may option to sell.
Okay. Now, may discussion.
Hindi po automatic expropriation.
I wanted to discuss about yung nationalization. Atty. Monsod, are you in favor? Kasi according to CAPENG, you're in favor of the nationalization of all properties that are owned by transnational corporations. Are you in favor of that?
Na may exception po doon sa mga small landowners.
Exception with small landowners. Kayo po ba ay pabor doon sa nationalization of land holdings?
Actually, nasa Constitution naman yun, may-ari ng lahat ng lupain natin is the state.
Estado
naman talaga. Ang question lang, is there a really exceptions na allowed yung disposable and alienable land?
Yes.
Ngayon, tama yun. Na if there is a gross injustice that happened, kailangan imbestigahan yun. Kaya kung kailangan 2 taon, 3 taon, kailangan may life yung special commission. Tingnan lahat yan. Kasi baliwala yung sinasabi nating social reform. Kung if many people get away with it, di ba?
Right.
So wala kaming problema dun na gagawin natin tama yung mali.
Based on, all right. We need to take a short break. Meanwhile, join the discussions online. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/opposing views. Follow us also on Twitter at opposing_views. Use the hashtag #OVCarper. Stay tuned. You're watching Opposing Views. Welcome back. This is Opposing Views. I'm Nepomuceno. Our guests for this evening, Attorney Christian Monsod and Rafael Capaeng Mariano. And our debate question for tonight, should the government extend the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program with extension and reforms in order to achieve its goal? So we've reached the final portion of our show. Attorney Monsod, your parting words, your final words regarding this.
Sa akin, maski anong tawag natin dyan sa bagong batas na yan, ang importante, tingnan natin ano ba ang objective ng agrarian reform. social reform yan. Change, structural change.
Hindi lang land
Kaya
transfer.
lahat ng kailangang gawin natin para iwasto natin, ilagay natin sa tama, yan sa objective at paraan. Kailangan may batas. Ang features ng batas, yan ang pinag-uusapan natin. Gusto namin may independent commission, reviewin lahat yan, correctin lahat ng flaws at saka circumventions. Number 2, condone all the amortizations and free distribution in the future. Massive funding of support services. Dapat, meron yan, assuming yan na meron talagang struktura na itutuloy yan in this way. Yung mga lupa, for example, 10 years dapat support services yan. Okay. Now, marami mga bills naka-file dyan. Isa, yung merong extension of CARPER period. No? Merong extension with additional reforms and corrective measures at merong GARB. Ang posisyon ko po, tingnan natin, nag-agree kami ng social justice, kailangan radical reform, kailangan talaga full emancipation of powers. Baka naman, kami makakaisa na mas malakas ang puwersa namin at advocacy namin kung magsama-sama lahat. Yung iisa lang ang objective, no? Social justice and structural change.
All right. Okay, thank you very much, Attorney Mansod. Kapaeng, ang final words niyo po regarding this issue.
Ayun nga po, lalong lumalakas po yung batayan at pangailangan na maisabatas na agaran ang Genuine Agrarian Reform Bill, ang House Bill 252, na sabi ko nga po, namin ay central goal nito ay ang libreng pamahagi ng lupa sa mga magsasaka, manggagaong bukid. Hanggang ngayon ay wala pa ring lupa na matatawag nilang kanila at may control sila, pati na yung po yung mga manggagaong bukid natin. Tama na po, wag na po nating ipalawigin pa o extend pa ang CARP at ang CARPER. Magsama-sama na po tayo dito sa CARP, sa Genuine Agrarian Reform Bill o House Bill 252. Dahil po yung CARP, sa kasaysayan po ng ating bansa, ang CARP is the longest, the most expensive, the bloodiest, and the, masasabi pa rin natin, the most deceptive. So, na agrarian reform program. So, kaya po, dito po, 5 taon lang naman ang implementation period ng Genuine Agrarian Reform Bill. Lalo na po dahil libreng pamahagi ng lupa at malinaw din po yung provision natin sa just compensation. Nakabase ito sa average nung 3 taong base sa deklarasyon for taxation purposes ng may-ari, hindi po nakabase doon sa current fair market value. At napakahalaga po ng Genuine Agrarian Reform at ng programa sa national industrialization sa ating bansa. Ito pong dalawang ito ang masasabi nating batayang requisitos para magkaroon ng tunay na pag-unlad ang ating bansa. Kaya nga po, napakahalaga na provision po nitong GARB o House Bill 252 yung nationalization of all agricultural lands at agarang libreng pamahagi po sa ating pong mga magsasaka. Alright. Maraming salamat po. Magandang gabi po.
Thank you very much, Kapaeng. Thanks to our guests, Attorney Christian Monsod and, of course, Rafael Kapaeng Mariano. Now let's see the results of our online poll. Our question, should the government extend the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program with extension and reforms in order to achieve its goal? Those who answered yes, 40%, it should be extended, and those who said no, 60%. And that's our opposing views for tonight. Tune in again next week for another bold and engaging discussion in today's most relevant issues. I'm Nepomuceno. Good night and God bless.
The Philippines is an agricultural country, and the issue of land ownership has always been a perennial issue. Different farmer groups call on the government to swiftly implement the land distribution through CARPER or the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program with extension and reforms. But after many years, according to the Department of Agrarian Reform, or DAR, 44% of all agrarian reform beneficiaries remain without access to integrated support services as of December last year. Looking back, CARP, or the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program, was first enacted to law during President Corazon Aquino's term in 1988. In 1998, it was extended for another 10 years to complete the distribution of lands. It was once again extended through CARPER from July 1, 2009 to June 30, 2014. In 2009, upon signing of CARPER, former President Arroyo provided a 150 billion peso outlay for the acquisition and distribution of lands. The Aquino administration, meanwhile, had set aside more than 16 billion
services. That's number one. Number two, yung sinasabi nilang June 30 deadline is only on land acquisition and distribution. Hindi kasama dyan yung continuing support services. Number three, sa palagay namin, yung agrarian reform is a partial success, partial failure. Kasi maraming loopholes sa batas, maraming hindi ipinatupad sa implementasyon. Kaya kailangan yan, correctin natin lahat yan para maganda ang katapusan at kinabukasan ng ating agrarian reform.
All right. Thank you, Atty. Mansod. And on the opposing side, we have Rafael K. Mariano, National Chairman of the Kilusang Magbubukid ng Pilipinas. Good evening, K.
Good evening. Magandang gabi po sa lahat. At ang pagpapatupad po ng tunay na reforma sa lupa ay malaunang kahingian ng ating mga magsasaka na siyang lulutas doon sa nananatiling fundamental problem of landlessness o kaya naman ay lack o walang sapat na lupa yung nakararami sa ating mga magsasaka, lalong-lalo na yung mga poor peasants at mga farm workers natin. At ang genuine land reform with pre-land distribution as the central goal ang talagang magbibigay wakas at papawi sa historical social injustice na malaon na pong dinaranas ng ating mga magsasaka at magpapalakas ng sektor na agrikultura na dapat ay pagsilbihin at kilalanin bilang pundasyon ng ating pambansa ekonomiya.
All right. Maraming salamat, Kapeng. And all right, so tonight we'll have to, I guess, expound a little bit on the CARP. Now, a lot of people are familiar with the CARP law. Not everyone is familiar with CARPER. The CARPER law, which is the CARP with extension and reforms, which was implemented in 2009. And it will be effective up until 2014. You mentioned earlier, Attorney Mansod, that it's 50% successful and 50% a failure. Can you expound on that, elaborate that further?
Well, alam nyo, ang basis lang yan is yung mga report card, mga analysis ko ano nangyari. And ang mga successful distribution of land yung agrarian reform communities na total lang support infrastructure, support services, and so on. Pero yun, siguro mga 50% ng ang farmers na inabutan nun. Kaya malaki ang kakulangan ng gobyerno na hindi nila bigyan ng support services. Unang-una, underfunded. Dapat dyan mga 220 billion over 20 years. Ang binigay nila mga 170 billion lang, more or less, no. So underfunded 'yan. So at saka ang ikalo, yung capacity building ng mga magsasaka. Kasi tenant sila gagawing owner cultivator. So kailangan may capacity building talaga, tulong. Ngayon, yung CARPER, diyan unang-una binigyan ng 150
pesos for agrarian reform in the 1.6 trillion peso national budget for 2011. In 2012, another 17.9 billion pesos had been set aside in the 1.8 trillion peso national budget. Some groups call to give CARPER another chance to solve one of the country's recurring problems in the past decades. But others insist to once and for all junk the supposed flawed law and install a new one.
Welcome to Opposing Views, a hard, straightforward discussion of today's most pressing issues. Much has been said and done on the issue of land reform in the Philippines, and it has, in fact, perpetuated many forms of human rights violations. But it seems like many more questions are left unanswered. So we ask tonight, should the government extend the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program with extension and reforms in order to achieve its goal? Good evening, I'm Nepomuceno, and this is Opposing Views. Joining us tonight in our discussion is Attorney Christian Monsod, co-convener of Sulong CARPER. Good evening, Attorney Monsod.
Good evening.
Yeah, can you give us your quick thoughts on this topic regarding the extension of the CARPER?
Alam mo niyo yung unang-una, hindi lang land transfer yan. Agrarian reform, ibig sabihin yan, total support sa billion yan for CARPER. At ikalawa, specified dun sa CARPER, for example, na yung tulong sa farmers a specific part of the 150 billion, it's about 12% or 40%. So, yun kasama initial capital. Kasi walang capital ang mga magsasaka. Utang lang sila ng utang.
How
at may socialized credit. No, so, at sinabi na yung total approach sa agrarian reform dapat patupad. Hindi nangyari yan. Under the Noynoy administration, hindi binigay lahat ng sapat na budget. Pareho din nung nangyari before para sa agrarian reform. Tapos, maraming yung mga loophole umiira pa rin, maski na nakalagay sa CARPER, that only the Supreme Court can stop the processing of the land reform. Kasi yung tao ni Noynoy dyan, si Rick Hill de los Reyes, merong AO7, yung Administrative Order 7, Administrative Order 9, na sinabi na pag merong kaso, may litigation, merong complaint, isususpend yung processing ng lupa. Di ganun din. Di ba?
Right.
So, maraming kakulangan dyan. Mahaba yan, mahaba.
Would you say that at insofar as the land distribution, medyo may success, pero when it came to the support services, as you mentioned, doon ang